Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. As some of you have known if you've been watching my channel for a while, I usually just talk about Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis games. But I do collect other things also, and one of those being the original PlayStation 1. And that's what I want to talk about on today's episode. Roll that intro. So yeah, the PlayStation 1. What can I say about it? During the PlayStation 1's lifespan, I was a huge fan of it. The N64 came out and I did like the system, but honestly, I was more of a PlayStation 1 guy. I did play a lot of games for the system, and some of them do hold a special place in my heart. So I figured I'd go through my small collection and kind of just talk about them for a minute or so, because there's a lot of great games for the PlayStation. I don't own a ton of them, but the ones I do own, I have a specific reason for owning. And most of the ones in my small collection have sentimental value to me for one reason or another. So I thought I'd kind of go through the ones that I do have and show you guys. The first one I have is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Now, I remember playing this game when it came out. I was a huge Castlevania fan. So when it did come out, I did want to try it. And I ended up renting this game, and it's hard to say on what my favorite Castlevania is, but this is definitely up there. I don't think it's better than Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo, but it's very, very close. It had an insane soundtrack, awesome gameplay, plus it had fantastic boss battles. And, you could spend all day just searching around inside the castle and just, exploring and trying to find all the little hidden secrets. And it was the first, 32-bit Castlevania game, so it blew a lot of people away when it came out. And there's a little thing on the back here that says, mind-blowing 32-bit special effects. This is Konami at their best. EGM, November 1996. That statement holds true because, in my opinion, Konami killed it with this game. The next one I want to talk about is the original Clock Tower. Now, the original Clock Tower I played way back then when it came out, and I actually rented this one also. Nowadays, this is a very pricey game, unfortunately, but honestly, it's not that good. The controls aren't very good, and, so I love games that put me right into the experience. Just super immersive. So Clock Tower really caught my interest, but when I played it, it wasn't very good. But I do have memories of it, so I added it to my collection. The next one is Clock Tower 2. I recently picked this one up from my buddy's collection when he was purging all of his games. And this is one of the ones that I kept when I bought his collection. And I did play it back then. I do like it, but I think it's actually worse than the original Clock Tower. I don't know. There's just not very much good about it. And if you do want to own it nowadays, man, it's extremely expensive. The last time I looked, I think it was around $150. My buddy sent me a text the other day just saying, how much do you think this game's going for now? And it was astronomical. I think it was around the $250 to $300 mark. So you're not missing out on anything by not owning this, but I just figured I'd add it to my collection. Now this one does hold a special place in my heart. The original Dino Crisis. Now, me being an extremely huge Resident Evil fan, when this came out, I was hooked also. It was just like Resident Evil with dinosaurs. So I was immediately addicted. And I don't know why they haven't went back to this series. They made Dino Crisis 1, 2, and then 3 on the Xbox. But I think it's a cash cow. A lot of people love survival horror. And the Resident Evil 2 and the Resident Evil 3 remakes are doing fantastic for Capcom. So I don't know why they haven't revisited Dino Crisis. But this is a fantastic game. I remember playing this with my cousins Casey and Travis all the time. Plus, the cool thing about it is when you pick this up, you actually got a demo for Resident Evil Nemesis, which is Resident Evil 3, which was an added bonus. So, yeah, Dino Crisis. The next thing I want to talk about is Dino Crisis 2. Pretty much more of the same, and that's not a bad thing. This game was great also, but it introduced something really unique. Every screen had fixed camera angles in this game. So by this time, survival horror used a lot of fixed camera angles, if you've played Resident Evil. So what this was, when you went through these fixed camera angles, you could actually rack up combos by shooting dinosaurs, and then when you would go to the next scene or the next room or the next area, it would give you a bonus, and you could compound your points and spend those points on stuff to buy in the game. It was a unique idea, but very effective, and one that I kept playing this over and over to try to get the better stuff so I could get the better weapons unlocked. This is a great game. Heart of Darkness. Now, honestly, I've never played this game. I picked this up a couple years back at one of the, I want to say it was either Retropalooza 3 or 4 or something like that. But my friend Ryan actually pushed me to get this because it's made in the exact same way as like Out of This World and Flashback, those type of games, and I love those. So I do need to give this one a try. I heard it's pretty difficult, and plus it's made by Interplay, who obviously made Out of This World for the Super Nintendo, so I had to pick it up and add it to my collection. The next one is Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. Now, just like with Heart of Darkness, I love these types of games. Prince of Persia, Out of This World, basically anything that's rotoscoped animation, or I'm trying to walk through and figure out puzzles to advance the story. And Oddworld was fantastic. I remember playing this demo, and it came with a PlayStation magazine, and me and my cousin Travis used to play this all the time, just trying to figure out. It was incredibly hard, but it's a great game, and I ended up picking it up for my collection. The next one, Oddworld, Abe's Exodus. More of the same. I'm pretty simple with my PlayStation collection. I stick to what I like and I stick to what I know. So this is just more of the same. I heard recently that Oddworld was going to get remade, and I can't wait for it. And I heard there's actually gameplay of it, so I'd love to check that out. But this is the sequel to Abe's Odyssey, and it's just as good. Now, this is a game that I played with my uncle back in the day, and it was Need for Speed. And we love fast cars, so we loved this game, and it had 2-player simultaneous play. So when I didn't have a PlayStation, I didn't own one at one time, I used to actually rent a PlayStation 1 and rent this game just to play it, and we'd play it on the weekend. So this is a great game. Need for Speed, the original. 8 awesome cars, and what we loved to do back in the day was finish the race and try to smash into the cars. That's pretty much what we did with it. Pretty fun racing game. Need for Speed 2. Now this game was great. We played this a ton more than we played that one because it actually had more cars, more unlockables, more tracks. So it was pretty much just more of everything that Need for Speed did, but did it better. And it had secret cars that you could get. So Need for Speed 2, what a fun game, you know. This is one of the ones that me and my uncles played also. Now we get into my favorite genre for the PlayStation. Obviously, like I said earlier, survival horror. And Silent Hill is a masterpiece. I really feel like it is. It's one of those things that when you go back to play it now, it is dated, and I don't know how well it holds up, but it's weird. I can still play this game, and I have just as much fun as I did when it originally came out. The atmosphere in this game is top-notch. The character progression is great, and just the overall experience. I used to play this game with my cousin Casey and Travis, and man, we love this game. We rented it, and then we ended up actually buying it. And I'll never forget those memories of us playing out in the trailer, way out in the middle of the woods, pitch dark, no lights, and we had a hell of a time with this game. So, Silent Hill. Now we get into one of my favorite franchises of all time, obviously, the original Resident Evil. Now, I remember playing Resident Evil pretty close to the first day it came out. So I actually used to stay nights at my aunt's, and she lived in like the woods in a trailer way out. I remember her boyfriend actually getting this. It wasn't actually the jewel case version, but the original version, which is the long box. It's the exact same game, but this was the version that I played at his house, and this version is extremely sought after now, way more than the jewel case. The price difference isn't hugely different, but people just don't run into this one very much, and this is why I picked it up for my collection. But yeah, Resident Evil, I mean, what do you say? It's fantastic. Now it would be considered cheesy, but this game started a franchise that is still going strong. Tons of sequels, and it was a very, very good game. It really made you think. You had to solve puzzles and things like that. Awesome bosses, an awesome twist ending. So the original Resident Evil is fantastic, and I recommend you play this game. Next is Resident Evil Director's Cut. And, you know, this was pretty much put out in between Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2 because people were fiending for a new Resident Evil game. So while they were developing 2, they released this one. And this game's awesome. There's actually some added bonuses to this game. There's a couple like weird music differences, kind of like in the kitchen. And that music is just terrible compared to the original. But it's pretty cool. They have like new camera angles that are introduced in this game, and there's 3 different modes. So you can play like easy, hard, and arrange mode. So it really added some replayability to it. And the coolest thing about it was it included a Resident Evil 2 demo. So Resident Evil 2 is incredibly hyped and anticipated to the max. So when you got this, they were like, hey, this probably won't sell very well. We'll put this Resident Evil 2 demo in here and everybody will get it. And that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly why I got it. So yeah, Resident Evil Director's Cut. Now we move on to arguably the best Resident Evil game ever made. And it's a close race between this game and another one. But it is Resident Evil 2. This game sold so well for Capcom. And at the time, it was fantastic. It still is great. And there's so many different things you can do in this game. And it actually has 2 discs for each character, Claire and Leon. And it's fantastic. Like, people still compare this one to the new Resident Evil 2 remake. There's actually people who like this one better than the remake, and the remake of Resident Evil 2 is fantastic. So this game right here is probably my favorite game on the original PlayStation. I'll never forget the times that cousin Casey and Travis would just sit down for hours trying to beat this game. And a little tidbit, there's a funny story I have about this game about the first time I had played it, and I'm going to do it on a different video because it's just really unique and something that I'll never forget. Plus, this game has tons of bonus content. So it has infinite weapons that you can unlock, and just costumes, and just really cool things to make you keep playing it. Just a little tidbit about Resident Evil 2 of how much we played it. I mean, we were addicted to this game, and we played it non-stop. And obviously, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis kind of came out of nowhere, you know, kind of like the remake did. A lot of people wasn't ready for it, and it kind of came out, and it wasn't as good as Resident Evil 2 in my opinion, but there was a lot of cool things about this game. I love the alternate endings. I love the choices that you could make that would like branch the story in a different whatever path that you chose by what decision you chose. And one of the cool things about it was it had a battle game called the Mercenaries, and that added a ton of replayability to it. It was incredibly fun to try to beat all those mercenary scenarios and things like that. But one bad thing I can say about this game is that it had an ammo system to where you can actually create ammo with an ammo tool. And I felt like you could create too much Magnum ammo too early in the game, and it made the game incredibly easy. And when me and my cousin Travis figured that out, that's all we made was like Magnum ammo all the time. I mean, you would have all the ammo you needed by about 20% into the game. So 80% of the game, you were just like one-shotting almost everything except the bosses. So other than that, though, this game's really good. Well, that's my PlayStation 1 collection. If you are a lover of the PlayStation 1 and have memories, leave them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep on reminiscing, baby.
Jill, what's going on? Any clues?
No, but something's wrong with this house.
Whoa, this hall is dangerous.